the Mint Door Podcast with Dr. Karen Tyndall and Dr. Laura Schwint. Are you tired of the burnout cycle? It's time to serve sustainably without sacrificing your well-being.
The Mint Door's elite performance coaching can help you cultivate a holistic approach to your well-being, enhance your leadership and self-mastery skills, and optimize your life for successful personal and professional fulfillment.
So don't put your true best self potential on hold any longer. Begin now by scheduling a complimentary Minty Moment Impact Chat and embody your radiance today.
So now, welcome to the Mint Door podcast. Are you ready to unlock your true potential and become a leader who truly inspires? Then get ready to be energized and empowered, because today's guest is an absolute powerhouse in the world of coaching, masterminds, and communication.
That's right. Allison Lacoursiere is an ICF Certified Professional Coach with a focus on leadership, high performance, and communication. As the founder of Clear Coaching, she is an expert in helping individuals step into their greatest potential through powerful communication and mindset strategies. She has years of experience helping organizations streamline their efficiency while increasing organizational health, performance, and production using the humans first methodology.
She has over a decade of dental experience and is a lifetime member of ADOM, started her career as an RDA, specialized as an orthodontic assistant, and is a certified dental office manager through the University of Toronto Faculty of Dentistry program.
Allison completed a professional designation at the Rothmans Business School on Women in Business and has founded the Women in Digital Dentistry program, a national mastermind program focused on empowerment and innovation in partnership with Align Technology.
Allison is a faculty member of Align Technology, Upgrade Dental, and the Dental Speakers Institute. Additionally, she's accredited as a coach through the International Coaching Federation, holding her ACC accreditation, the UC Davis for coaching as a manager, and she's certified as a transformational trainer through LineSpeak.
Allison is the co-founder of DentalFlix, an education platform that offers global education to dental professionals based on analytics of data in their practice. So get ready, because we know you're going to be on the edge of your seats as we dive into Allison's insights on communication, mindset, and achieving peak performance. Well, listeners, welcome to our podcast today, Allison. Thank you so much for being here. We are recording this at the beginning of 2025, and we just had a fun conversation about how 2024 went and planning with intentionality. And we joked, like we always do, that we should have hit record before we hit record. So welcome, Allison. I can't wait to get into this conversation that we're recording now with you.
It's always a pleasure, Laura. I love our conversations. They are so fun. So I know this podcast is going to be fantastic today.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know that you work with a lot of people. You coach and you support people that are really striving to reach their full potential. And now that we're at the beginning of a year, this is a big hot topic. So what is one concrete step that a person can take today to start building their own self-worth and really believing in what magic they have inside of themselves?
Such a good question. I would say at this time of year, a lot of people, myself included, you included, we look at the year ahead and we decide who we want to become and what we want to achieve by the end of the year. We just start to reflect on, what we've achieved and where we want to go. And one of the biggest things that I have seen as a coach and also just as a human, as a woman in business, is that we build our goals and our desires based on either a feeling of scarcity and lack of self-worth or of love, abundance, and self-worth. And those two paths will lead us in such different directions and such different feelings of either lack of fulfillment and joy and lack of joy, or fulfillment and joy. And so one of the best ways as we start this year, and one of the things that it took me way too long to learn and many hard lessons along the way, but something I coach my clients on now, is to create aligned choices towards our goals. And when I say aligned, it means it must come from a place of self-love and self-worth. And in kind of more simple terms, it's not choosing goals to prove that you're enough, or to prove that you're good enough, or that you're worthy, or that you're worthy of love, or that you are a good person. It's knowing that ahead of time, that you are worthy, you are so worthy of love, you are beautiful and phenomenal and special just as you are. And the goals that you choose are just to expand you into the fullest expression of yourself. They're not there to prove that you're enough. And so when we can really question and ask ourselves, are the goals that I'm choosing from that place of scarcity, lack, proving self-worth, or are they from a place of already self-love? And this goal is going to help me expand into the fullest expression of Allison. Then we're on the right track. And then we're on the right track for an incredibly beautiful year that is in spirit of self-worth.
That is such a radical way of looking and being intentional with those goals. I think you're right. I think that so many people choose goals based on where they want to be, and not that becoming or expanding is a bad thing, right? But knowing that you're already that special person right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. that feels so good.
Yes. And it is, unfortunately, and you probably see this as a coach as well, like people go through their life and they get to a place and it's like they hit a wall or something bad happens. And it's almost this realization of what am I doing? Like, why am I here? And it was because of these small decisions made in lack of self-worth that you're hoping that if I write the book, if I build the business, if I make this money, if I get that relationship, if I have the body, if I have the this, it's going to make me feel like I'm good enough. But it won't unless you already feel good enough. And if you already feel that you're worthy. And if you do feel worthy and you do feel good enough, then you make decisions based on what is the greatest expression of me? What is my gift to the world that I want to bring forward in a new and different way? How can I contribute to this world at a higher level? And those goals are worth trading your life for. Mm. The other goals that are proving our self-worth or attempting to prove our self-worth are not worth trading your life for. And they will never result in self-satisfaction. They will never result in joy. You will continue to climb the mountain and get to the top and wonder what's next. And that has been such a radical shift for me as an entrepreneur, as a leader, is just recognizing, like, before I do anything, is this aligned with me? Or is there a sense of needing to prove something here? Or is there a sense of lack of self-worth here? And if there is, that's the journey. That's what I need to focus on and understand and uncover with love and joy and curiosity, because we all have it. It's okay. But that's where the work gets to happen so that we can heal that and then really step into the fullest and greatest expansion of ourselves.
Mm. You know, you said so much there. And so I'm going to try and put a bookmark in some of it. But one of the things that you bring up is that worthiness. And so what if you get to a point where you're feeling not worthy? You know, what if you see that you're making decisions or setting goals based on that fear of not being worthy? What's a good thing to do right then?
Mm-hmm. So lack of self-worth really is like a lack of self-love. And if you have that, most of us do, we have like what we'd essentially call like a gremlin, where we have a not enoughness feeling. And that typically comes from something that has happened in childhood, or like a traumatic event, or, something in our life has caused us to believe that we are not enough, not good enough, not worthy enough. And so in that moment, when you start to experience that, like, am I ready for this? Am I capable of this? Am I good enough? Or, oh, wow, this is resonating with me. I did set goals this year that are really in spirit of trying to prove myself. Then you just have to find out what that wound is and give yourself so much love for it. Give yourself so much love for it. So this can be a journey where you start to kind of unravel, like you pull on a thread and you start to unravel, like, whoa, I have these limiting beliefs about myself. I have these thoughts about myself. Like, where did they come from? But it matters less about what happened and where they came from than it matters to figure out what you want to believe now, and what the new version of thoughts are going to be, and what you would replace those thoughts with. And so I actually have in my phone a note that says old thoughts versus new thoughts. And as old thoughts come up, and as thoughts come up that are in spirit of lack of worthiness or lack of love or in scarcity, I'll write what they are down. And I think about, what is the opposite thought? So if like the thought is, I'm not ready or I'm not experienced, the new thought, a more empowering thought, would be, I'm so ready and I'm so excited to try something new. And I'm going to learn so much along the way. And the cool thing is, I've been doing this for a little while, that I go back through these thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember I used to think that, or I used to say that to myself, but I don't anymore. And I don't think that anymore. And I have trained myself to really, when one of those thoughts comes up, I lovingly am like, thank you for being here, trying to protect me. I know there's something in the past that has caused this to be there. I'm not going to make myself wrong for it. And yet I'm not going there. That's not where we're going anymore. Like, that's not me. This is me. And I decide this. And by being able to do that and discern those thoughts and be very clear on, like, no, we're not thinking this, we're going to think this instead. It takes practice, but it becomes a practice that helps you feel better moment by moment, day by day, to get you out of that belief system that really just doesn't serve you.
Thank you for sharing that. That is a tip worth gold, really. And I think that you bring up so much there, that we do have choice over the second thought, always. Maybe not that first thought that just like floods our brain, right? But we always have choice of that second, the next thought. And if we would just pause just for a moment. And I think that that's, we were kind of talking a little bit about this before we hit record, but just being intentional with our time. And I think being intentional with our thoughts and taking that pause with them is just radical.
Oh my gosh, so much so. And this is something that I ask like my audience when I'm on stage. I'm like, who has ever made themselves scared just by thinking a thought alone? And everyone puts up their hand, and I'm like, okay, so you felt physically afraid in your body. And they're like, yes. They've tasted fear in their mouth. Maybe their heart rate increased. I'm like, okay, so you physically changed your body by thought alone. They're like, yes. Okay. So what if we had the same intensity of thought around something good, something we're excited about, something we're grateful for, something we're just so enamored with, like love, or an experience we want to have? Like, how does that change our body? And what would life look like if we spent the majority of our time giving those thoughts to ourselves, rather than thoughts of, what if it doesn't work out? I'm not good enough. She's prettier than me. I'm not smart enough for this. I'm not young enough for this. All of these things that we say to ourselves that are crazy, and we would never say to anybody else. We would never say them to anyone else, but we say them to ourselves, and we flood ourselves with cortisol and with fear. And then we wonder why we're afraid to do the things that we want to do. And when we're feeding ourselves the thoughts that are causing us to feel this way all the time, so the real skill and thing to work on is to choose intentionally the thoughts that are going to help you feel the way that you want to feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that in and of itself, I think, is a game changer. And if you can, even first thing in the morning, just make a goal of the day to be, I'm going to choose the thoughts that make me feel the way I want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And see how many times you can do that a day, and then like celebrate when you do.
Yes. I think we've been so programmed and almost addicted to feeling anxious and feeling guilty and feeling uncomfortable or pressed or stressed for time. And what would life look like if we just didn't feel that way anymore? What would life look like if we felt excited and hopeful and grateful and joyful and love? Like, what would life look like? And of course, life is going to life on us. Things happen, and that's just our experience. And yet, what if we provided ourselves, again, like when you wake up in the morning, just the thoughts that allow you the opportunity to feel these things right off the bat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, we talk about the social media diet, the news diet, all the things that influence how we feel. And so I think we should start thinking about our thought diet.
Oh my gosh, I 100% agree. I love that analogy.
Well, you inspired it. So yeah, awesome.
So good.
Yeah. So speaking of intentionality, you have multiple areas in your life where you have really succeeded, and you're extremely busy in multiple realms. And so I'm curious, how do you personally stay aligned with your values and your goals, especially when life gets busy and life's on you?
Yes. And I will say sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get off track and I feel it. I'm like, okay, you are not aligning with your health goals right now because you have been flying too much or you've been on a plane too much. But something I've gotten a lot better at is getting back on track faster and being intolerant to living out of alignment. I used to have a pretty high pain tolerance, I think, to living out of alignment. I didn't know or understand how good life gets to be when you're in full alignment. And I made choices to experience that and to live in that full alignment. And of course, it changes as we grow, but it's such a peaceful place to be that now anytime I'm like slightly off, I'm like, okay, what do you need to do to get back on track? And so there is this like ebb and flow. And I would say like I'm not perfect at it, but I'm really getting better at aligning myself to the things that are important to me. And part of that, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, is being intentional about how we're scheduling. Like, as speakers, as coaches, my schedule last year was booked up for the year in October. So October 2023, my 2024 was basically booked. And then I added things.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I was coming into this next round, I got very discerning and clear on, one, not saying yes to things right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd get a call, I'd get an email, or I'd be on a Zoom call and someone would ask me to do something. And my old response, Allison, would get excited and say, yes, let's do it. And then later on be like, oh, like, I don't know if that is super aligned with me, but I'm going to do it because I said I'm going to. Now I don't say yes to anything unless I talk to my team, unless I talk to my partner, and I get really clear on comparing this offer or this program to all the other options that I have or all the other things that I have. Does this really fit with me? And being a little bit more discerning with what I'm putting into my calendar. The other thing that I've done is I've blocked off joy. So in my calendar, I have a yellow tab for joy, and that is my yoga classes. That is finishing work at 5 o'clock. That is my weekends off. That is my 3-day work week schedule. Everything else is blocked in joy. And that was a big deal for me this past year because I felt like I got really kind of addicted to growing my business and growing my company. And I love the pursuit of success. And, I love a challenge. And I know many of the people that listen to your podcast also do, like they're ambitious. And yet it was hard for me to really remember like the other things in life for a while. And so this past year, I got very disciplined with blocking the things that really, really matter to me, my family time, my travel time, my weekends off hiking, the hobbies that I love to do. And I pre plan those the same way that I would pre plan a podcast with you. And they are just as important as the work that I do because they fill me up and make me who I am so that I can give back to the work that I'm doing. And so, really, that pre planning and committing to this is a week off. I'm taking it completely off. I'm not doing coaching calls. All my clients know taking this Saturday, Sunday off every single time. My Mondays and Fridays are blocked for me and just being so disciplined with my calendar. So that was a really big shift to keep me aligned. And I think we know, like, if you slow down enough, which is sometimes hard, and you sit with yourself for a little while, if you're on track or not.
Mm.
It's a gut instinct. It is like if you were just asked, am I aligned right now or not? And you gave yourself a few minutes, you'd be very quick to say yes, but, or yes, and I'm excited about the future. And like, we know you can trust yourself. So really checking in with myself more often and quicker to just see, am I on track? Am I aligned? How does this feel? And go from there.
You bring up so many good points in that. And it comes back to self-love and self-worth and just the fact that we know, you highlight the fact that we always know deep down if we just take the time to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you also too for being real that you're not perfect at it and that there's moments when you get it out of alignment. I think that that's really important to talk about, that we're all human. There are no perfect humans. But I love what you said, that you're getting better and quicker at turning it around.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just because it feels good. Like it feels really, really good to be in alignment. It's so much more fun. You're so much more successful in everything that you're doing. And, I used to be such a good, like, I was like a slugfester, like I could slugfest my way through. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. And I know it doesn't feel aligned, but like I'll push through it. And it's simply not worth it. And it doesn't lead you to anything that is going to be longstanding or bring you true joy. So the faster you can get back into alignment, the better your life is overall.
Well, and here's having been a slugfester and now a more aligned non-slugfester, which one brings you more success?
Oh, being aligned for sure. With ease, I might add. Like life is easier and you're more successful.
And who doesn't want that?
Yes.
We were talking about like what we qualify as success before we started the podcast, and just saying that really defining what success is on your terms is super important. And you were highlighting, those moments of joy, family, travel, your yoga class, like that's real success for you. You've written that into your DNA. And I think that that's something that a lot of people almost feel like they need permission to express. Like success means, a successful business. Success means a successful bank account, all those things. But the things that really, truly do matter, and it's different for everyone, right? I mean, it's not like, but just knowing what is that true success for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'll be bold enough to say, and I feel very strong about this. And I think it's just the reality. Like we know incredible business moguls who had everything, all the money, all the fame, all of the notoriety, and they didn't have their health or they lost their families. or they lost their own identities. Like there's so many stories of people like that. And yet we still can get lost in that hustle and that comparison and that, that they call it the rat race. And I really believe that we can have it all. I really believe that. I believe you can achieve your financial goals and you can have an incredible family life and you can take time off and spend doing the things that you love to do. And I will argue the more I lean into this, the better it gets for me. It starts with, again, that worthiness that I deserve to be happy on my way to my goals. I deserve to be healthy on my way to achieving my goals. And in fact, I'm only going to achieve my big goals when I'm happy and healthy. And so somehow we've gotten it wrong. Like, oh, I'll just sacrifice my health and family so that I can have X, Y, and Z. And then when I get there, it'll be fine. It doesn't work that way. And I don't know why we think that it could. We must take care of ourselves. Even when we look at this from a neuroscience perspective, which I love diving into, if we don't take care of our bodies, our brains don't work as well. Like we can't think as clearly. We're not operating from the best part of our brain to be creative, to be collaborative, to do the things that we want to do. And so we must take exceptional care of our bodies and have joy and have friends and have people in our lives taking care of us or loving us in order for us to achieve those goals. Like we don't need to do it alone and we don't need to sacrifice our health in order to get there. So yes, I would say defining your success, everyone's success definition is different. And yet if it doesn't include a very feisty and robust element of self-care, I don't think it's success. I just don't.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully said. And I think that the more we see people that we look up to taking care of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
the better. Because I think that just is inspirational. I know when I see someone that they radiate, you can tell they're taking care of themselves. And I trust them more with whatever they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important for us to realize that if we are walking our own walk, that we will be more trustworthy. We will be more respected, more all those things that we're going for when we sacrifice our well-being.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. I remember sitting in a lecture when I was still a dental office manager, and the lecture was on high performance, and it was about nutrition and mindset and all of these really exciting topics that I love to teach today. And I remember sitting in the audience, and the gentleman who was speaking, he was not the picture of health. In fact, he looked like he was struggling, even just speaking up there. And I remember, like, thankfully, it was a great moment for me because I'm like, wait a second, I could do this. Like, I could be up there teaching this. It was one of those moments where I'm like, I'm going to do this. But it's true. We don't respect in the same way. There's a concept called impression of increase. And as human beings, we're designed to expand, like to grow, to acquire. We really are, like to have more, to be more, to do more. It's a very natural process because that is our evolution and our growth. If we're not doing that, we're actually stagnating and dying. And so we have this very natural tendency to increase in our life, increase knowledge, increase whatever it is that we desire. And some people give off the impression of that just by being around them because they're energized, they're excited, they're aligned. And that is something that is more palpable and you can feel that in other people than what they say. Mm. We have our whole entire skin body that can sense other people. That's bigger than just our ears and our brain. That's like really just processing this information. We can really sense and feel other people in a bigger way when they're emulating or just living in this impression of increase. And those are the people that are magnetic. They are people that are chosen for certain things because they're memorable. And it's not hard to be someone who has an impression of increase. But you have to be aligned with yourself. You have to be aligned. You have to be well. You have to be taking care of yourself. And that's how you'll give off that impression of increase.
Mm. Oh, I could just talk about this all day, and I could just listen to you talk about it all day. Oh, this is the magic. This is the magic. And I'm curious because you said something about, the fact that we are meant to strive for more, to expand. And if we don't, we're not living, we're dying. And so what if someone feels stuck and they just have a big fear of stepping outside that comfort zone that they're in? What is maybe a mindset shift that someone can make in that moment to start expanding again?
There's a couple that I would say. The first one would be a gentle and like loving response of reminding yourself who you are. Because if you have gone through any aspect of life, you have done something where you have come out of your comfort zone already. You've already done it. And so it's a level of reminding yourself of another time that you have come out of your comfort zone and what happened and how it actually does serve you. So that would be the first one, is like really remember who you are. And who you are is someone who can put yourself out of your comfort zone. So that would be the first one, is like really reminding yourself who you are. Write a list of all the hard things you've ever done in your life and look at it and remind yourself, wow, I can do this. I can do that next step, because look at all the things I've already done. I think we forget all of the places we've already navigated, all of the hard things we've done, because we're always so focused on the future. So it's reminding yourself of who you are. The second thing I would say is find someone who can maybe hold your hand for a little while. I think we value independence and separateness too much when we don't need to. There are probably, if you're listening to this and you are feeling stuck or you are feeling alone, there are probably dozens of people who want to help you right now, but you sometimes just have to ask. And that was something that I still am working on, is putting a hand up and saying, I need help with this, or I would love support right now. Or can someone remind me, how strong or resilient I am? And anytime I've ever done that, even slightly, I have been overwhelmed with the responses that I've received. And I think so would anybody, really. So it's finding that support and reminding yourself you don't have to do it alone. And then really thinking about, what are the consequences of staying stuck? Because we look at the consequences of putting ourselves out of our comfort zone. Okay, so it's a little scary. Might make a mistake. I might embarrass myself. I might not be ready for this, like all of these consequences. But what is the consequence of not ever getting out of my comfort zone? And then you realize, wait a second, if I stay here forever, I'm already essentially living my own worst nightmare, because I'm not evolving, I'm not changing, and I'm staying stuck in the same old thing that I don't want. And so, like, you have to recognize the consequence of whatever you're afraid of going out of your comfort zone is not going to be as big or as scary or as bad as the consequence of staying where you are.
That is beautiful. And I love the thought of reaching out to others, because who doesn't love helping someone?
Yes.
Like, you're actually giving that person a gift, because it feels so good to be asked. And so many times I agree. You're holding something inside and you're ruminating on it. And when you just speak it out loud to another person, just that act alone lifts so much weight off.
I think we have this fear that whatever we're facing is, like, especially the things that we're facing that we're deeply ashamed of, are just individual to us, that no one else has ever done or felt or thought this. And oh my gosh, if anybody knew, they would not think the same as me. And there have been so many times as a coach facilitating workshops where we have to share that big, scary feeling inside of us. And I know, and I've seen it on women and men's faces where they think to themselves, oh my gosh, I had no idea other people felt the same way. And I want to just reiterate that you're not alone in your fears, in your struggles, in your insecurities, in your mistakes. You are not alone. And the people who are the most successful that you look up to are likely people that have gone through those things, but more than you. And they've just gotten used to moving forward faster and and they haven't allowed those things to create an identity for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are, we're looking up to, that we want to, emulate or we're inspired by, they've probably gone through double, if not triple, what we've gone through. They've just figured out a way to be resilient and overcome it. And so you're not alone. And yes, 100%, like people want to support you.
Mm. I think what you said there is just super similar to the alignment piece, where when the quicker you can come out of feeling out of alignment, if you can just recognize that, yes, I'm not perfect, I'm going to get out of alignment, but if I can learn how to get back into alignment quicker, same with these feelings of being stuck. Like we're all going to feel stuck again. And the quicker we can learn, recognize this is stuck, how do I get out of it? And then just keep spiraling up that way, right?
Exactly. And I would say if right now you're not uncomfortable about something in your life, it means that you're not stretching yourself out of your comfort zone enough. So discomfort, something that like 2024 really taught me, was how to get comfortable with good discomfort. Like not misaligned discomfort where I'm like, this doesn't feel good, but I'm going to push on anyways. But it was more the discomfort of sitting in hard emotions and asking myself, like, how do I really feel right now? How could I have done this better in like a loving way? It's recognizing that discomfort can like help you grow. And so if you're feeling stuck because you don't know how to move forward, or if you don't know what the next step is, just do something. Even if it isn't the right answer, it'll teach you something. And the discomfort of going through it is helping you become the person that you're meant to be.
Oh my gosh, mic drop.
Yeah. Something that it was such a profound realization for me last year, where we hear these things like, we hear like, you are the mountain is you. Everything that you face is there to support and strengthen you. Like you can conceptually hear that, but last year it really resonated with me, where I'm like, holy smokes, everything that I face that is uncomfortable for me is such a gift. It is such a gift to teach me, to guide me, to help me elevate. And the only way I could see it as a gift was when I looked at myself in a loving way. If I looked at myself with a critical way, with a judgmental way, with a you're not enough way, and I faced a mountain, no way. That mountain is scary. I do not want to climb it. But when I looked at myself from a way of self-love, self-compassion, self-worth, that mountain was just a gift to help me grow. And with anything that you're facing right now, again, we are going through this human experience called life, where we are going to face challenges. Allow that challenge to be a gift for you. What are you learning? How are you getting stronger? What resilience are you building? And get grateful for it. And that gratitude, that emotion of gratitude, will help you rise through it and get through it faster and with more joy and more ease.
More joy and more ease. Amen to that again. And the gift, I have a friend who, I thank you for reminding me about this, because she literally says to anything that comes her way, thank you for this gift.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So there's that theme coming back. So Allison, you are a wealth of knowledge, plus a person with a ginormous heart and a passion for helping others reach their full potential. So can you tell us about your coaching program that you have for high performing female entrepreneurs and executives?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite. Someone asked me today, what is your favorite thing to do? And I told them it was this program. So it is a community for women, entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, managers who want to elevate themselves and want support in order to grow. And so we cover things like self-confidence, self-worth, communication strategies, negotiation strategies, sales strategies, marketing strategies, all of the things that I've found over the last 6 years of being an entrepreneur that have helped me really grow the fastest. And one of the things that I really didn't expect about this program was the beautiful community that it's created with these women. So if you can imagine, all of these women are coming in, they are committed to growing and stepping into the life and the business and the love that they want. It is such a powerful and beautiful group of women who are all there, hands at each other's back, supporting them every single step of the way. So it's a really powerful network of women. We meet twice a month. We connect through Marco Polo almost every day. And the sentiment of when the women leave the call is, I am so poured into and I am so excited to expand. And so if you have never had a coach before, or if you've never invested in coaching before, it's one of those things that I think you just expect your life to change. I mean, Laura, you do this all the time, every day for a living, but it's been something that for me personally has been such a game changer of putting myself into rooms and with women that have inspired and uplifted me and helped me understand that I'm not alone and there are tools and skills that I can learn quickly to get myself to where I want to be. That's what this program's for.
Well, and together you grow stronger, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. How do people find out about that?
If they want to email me, Allison at yourclearalinercoach.com, they can come to my social media, Allison Lacoursiere, and send me a DM. That's where they can come and find out about the program.
Fantastic. Awesome. And then you recently started Women in Digital Dentistry. That looks, I mean, I've seen some of the events that you've hosted. That looks amazing. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to me. Talk about when you have a dream and then you see it come into reality. That is this program for me. So I was coaching a lot of female clinicians, a lot of women in dentistry, and similar to what we were talking about before, a lot of them were saying the same things and they thought they were alone in their struggles. And so I pitched to the president of Align Canada about building a program that supports women in business and in digital technology and innovation. And Align said yes and supported me in the build out almost a year ago. And over the last year, we've launched 4 live events and we have expanded into Canada in 2024, into the US in 2025. So we're about to do our big launch into the US. And this is for women who want an empowering and supportive community, who really value digital technology and innovation, and who want to stay on that like forefront cutting edge of building a digital business, while having a group of powerful women at their back. So I really, really believe that women grow the most when they are surrounded by others around them that are inspiring them and holding them forward. And there's a space they can be vulnerable and then also get access to some of the really, really powerful innovations that our world is faster and faster bringing to the forefront. And so Women in Digital Dentistry is a monthly program. We have a big symposium this year in Toronto at the Align CEC headquarters, October 17th and 18th. And so really excited to launch that into the US and invite any woman, can be a coach, consultant, doctor, team member, any woman in digital dentistry, which, I mean, we're on a Zoom call right now. If you're listening to the podcast, you're listening to technology, to join and to get a part of it. It's the marketing director for Align came up to me after our first launch and she said, this isn't a program, Allison, this is a movement. And that's exactly what I hope to create in the next year.
Ooh, I love that. How exciting. I cannot wait to see how 2025 plays out for you and all the people that you touch, because you have that energy. You have that when you're in the room, people want to be better. So
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. And thanks for passing that on to so many and encouraging and supporting so many in being worthy and capable of the greatness that they embody as well. You really are a true gift to the world.
Thank you so much, Laura. I mean, we are just mirrors to other people in the world. And so I'm going to mirror that right back to you as a gift and as somebody who infinitely inspires me and so many people. And thank you for having this podcast, for having such a beautiful community, and for serving the way that you do in the industry.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I know that also too, you have free coaching calls or complimentary discovery calls, right? So again, probably just your email to connect with you, or a DM on socials.
Yes, either way, send me an email, send me a DM, and we'll find a time to connect and see if you're a fit for women in digital dentistry, or if you want to be a part of my executive program.
Fantastic. Oh, well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today to really talk about these things that I think women especially need to step into, as far as living their best selves and bringing their gifts to the world. And so what a better way to start the year than with a podcast with you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Yeah. And thanks, listeners. We adore you, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Mid-Door Podcast. Bye. Thanks for listening, and subscribe for more holistic performance content.